Hello, we are live. I am Jay the Stingray here with Cole, and we're going to be doing a live commentary for the masterpiece Highlander 2.
One of the greatest sequels of all time.
It's been quite a while since I've seen this one, so this should be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So this is on Amazon Prime for both of us, which is a rarity, but we'll go and get this started here. I'm going to count down from 3, and then we're going to go 3, 2, 1, play, and then on play, you're going to want to hit play, obviously.
Right.
Okay. 3,
So there's
2. Well, I'll go ahead and let everybody
yeah, sure.
get their players ready, and I'll share this on the socials as well.
On mine, it goes straight into the movie. There's not even a thing that comes up.
Check mine.
So there are, I think, multiple cuts of this movie. There's at least one. There's at least one that makes it a little better, although better being a fairly relative term.
Mine starts with the year is 2024.
Yeah, it jumps right into it. Yeah.
Okay.
4 years from now.
Yeah.
And this movie, of course, came out in 1991, so 2024 was fairly far off.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny to, like, has anyone gotten it right what the future was? Like, it's...
No. I mean, little things. The little things have been gotten right.
Minority Report's not too bad.
Yeah, that's true. Although, we don't have anything with precognition yet.
Right. Oh, yeah. That's a big...
I like how in Minority Report, one thing the cops have is I hope maybe we can develop the technology. It's like those 6 sticks, where if you just hit somebody with them, which is a great way to incapacitate somebody without actually, hurting them or causing them bodily harm. If we can figure out something like that, because if you're like gonna like barf or something, you can't fight off cops or.
Well, they've tried to develop similar things, like with the brown noise and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Various weapons using sound waves and stuff. Okay, cool. Well, we can go ahead and everybody got their players ready.
Yep.
Countdown 3, 2, 1, play.
There we go. I'll probably once again have to turn down my volume.
Here is 2024.
Yeah. This is already such a different opening from the original. Like, the original is like a fantasy movie, and this is turning right off hard sci-fi. It's like, in the future, the world is blah, blah, blah. See, now they're talking about the ozone layer.
Whatever happened to that? That was almost supposed to be gone by now, right?
It's pretty damaged, yeah.
By all that Aquanet.
I don't know. But I mean, that is part of like the global warming sort of phenomenon, right? It's the hole in the ozone layer allows more ultraviolet light in from the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Greenhouse gases, etc., etc. Are filmed by Russell McCulley. I think he'd take his name off this. So, of course, the original one came out in '86 and was a fairly straightforward fantasy type thing about an immortal warriors that had been around for centuries that were all playing something called the game, where they're all trying to kill each other, because whoever killed and was the last one left would win the prize, right? That was what it was all about, and how, like, one of them... Oh, yeah, Virginia Madsen.
Yeah.
One of them, he's, like, in modern-day New York City, and he gets swept up with this woman. I think what the funniest thing about the original is the fact that you have a movie called The Highlander about a very Scottish person, and he's played by Belgian... Christopher Lambert, which is okay, because we've seen plenty of movies where people of different, okay, fine. But the fact is, the movie actually stars Sean Connery, who is the most Scottish actor in the history of acting, and he's playing a Spaniard. Like, how fucked up is that? How surreal is that scene where they're in the boat together, and he's like, tell me about, and he in his thick Scottish brogue, the Spaniard is saying, like, tell me about your Scotland. And he tells him, like, what haggis is. And he's like, oh, that sounds disgusting. I'm thinking, what the hell am I watching? Christopher Lambert, the Scotsman, is telling Sean Connery, the Spaniard, about how weird and different Scotland is.
Yeah, he never gets rid of that accent. Like he never even tries. It's hilarious. Like in
I'm a Russian sub-commander.
Yeah, that's where I was going next. Yeah,
Mother Russia. Like you might as well be playing like out of kilt and bagpipes in that movie.
I've always been weirded out by like it's usually war movies that are like it'll be a foreign country, but they're all still be speaking English.
Yeah,
it's always like come off weird to me.
I mean, in some you can accept it because it depending upon if like that's the only language spoken, you can think, okay, we're seeing it as English, but it's understood they're speaking their own language. But a lot of movies break that because they'll have them come in contact with English-speaking characters, and they'll still be speaking English to each other, like in other scenes, like without the English-speaking characters, supposedly. So it doesn't make any sense. It breaks, like, yeah.
Yeah.
As I said, like in certain movies, they do a good job of making it understood. Like in that Tom Cruise movie Valkyrie, which is all about Germans, it opens with Tom Cruise like writing in the diary, and he's speaking German. And as he's speaking, it eventually turns into English, and we get it. Okay, we're hearing it as English, but everybody in the movie speaking. Like that's a good way of doing that.
Yeah.
But it would be broken if, like, say, like Americans or British showed up and started speaking English to them too, and But luckily, that doesn't happen in that movie. But it happens in movies.
What is this tarp draped all over everything?
It might have something to do with the weird pollution of the world they're in. I remember this movie only in bits and pieces. It's such a goddamn mess. This is like the poster child for like just a movie that's a complete mess. So anyway, yeah. So the original tells this story, a fantasy story about immortals fighting for the prize, and this turns it into like some sort of sci-fi space shit where they're like aliens from another planet. Like there was no hint of that at all in the movie,
right?
Yeah. See, that's why.
Okay.
Maybe there's a hole in the roof or something. So here's McLeod, our main guy from the first one. And yes, my last name's not McLeod, but it sort of is because it's my mother's maiden name, hence the McLeod here. So I could go by McLeod if I wanted to. My history with Highlander as a franchise is kind of weird and scattered too, because like I never cared about it growing up, but I had a couple friends that were big fans of the television show that started in the 90s, which wasn't about Christopher Lambert's character, but it was about a different Highlander altogether. I never watched even a second of that show, but I have friends who really liked it. And then in like 1999, after like it's hard to believe there was still another one coming out, they made Highlander, I think it's Endgame. And there was actually some hype about that because they were bringing Christopher Lambert and the guy from the show. They're going to be in it together, like the two Highlanders. And I remember like people being excited about that. And of course, it was an awful movie.
Yeah.
Just like they've all been, except for arguably the first one's at least decent. And then
I was probably more a fan of the series than I have ever been of the films. But it's like I told you before we started live here. It's like something that I really like the concept of, but I just don't like the execution that much. It's like I like the idea of Highlander. I just don't like the actual movies too much.
All right, so here we have a flashback, and I think this is on another planet. I think. I mean, I can't imagine being somebody who like really liked the first movie back in the 80s, and then this movie comes out, and what you would be thinking watching this. Okay, so there's Connery. Of the planet? What do you mean of the planet? What are you talking about? Why does everything look like Dune?
I know. I was thinking Dune too.
I thought you were the Spanish Highlander. Yeah, Ramirez, that's it. So he even went by Ramirez on another planet.
One of the many films that forced Sean Connery into retirement.
I mean, a lot of it's his own fault. He kept saying yes to awful scripts. Like he turned down The Matrix. So he turned down Lord of the Rings.
Was it The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen? Is what was
that? Was the end of it?
Yeah. The League, lassie.
A truly awful movie that I saw in theater.
That movie sucks, but that's such a great comic.
Yeah. I recommend the comic highly. I mean, people know that I love almost everything Alan Moore does, so no surprise. But Nolan's art is very good.
Another adaptation of that.
It deserves a better attempt, sure. I mean, I don't know what they were thinking of that movie. I love how they just invented, like, threw Tom Sawyer into it, too. It's like, this is too British. We need an American person from the 19th century. It's Tom Sawyer, and he's like a secret agent. So this already doesn't make sense. This is one of the things. This makes no sense, right? If you watch the first movie.
I'm already confused, yeah.
Because in the first movie, they didn't know each other. They met at some point, in like medieval Scotland or whatever, right? In the flashbacks, he met Ramirez sometimes like 100 years ago. This suggests that, oh no, they knew each other before they even came to Earth. So this is another thing. Like, not only does this movie change things, it just throws out the first movie. Like, it doesn't make any continuity-wise sense. So maybe if somebody's watching that is more familiar with the series, they could point out just how wrong this is, because there's so much I forget. But this just must have been so confusing for anybody watching it for the first time. It's like, it's a flashback, and at first you probably think it's still Earth, but you don't know where it is. And it's like, wait a second, when did he know Ramirez? But that's eventually they're gonna talk about it being literally another planet. Oh no, look, in case you thought it was there's Michael Ironside.
Oh man.
Who's always, wow, that's the fakest looking horse I've ever seen. All right, because that's okay, no, because that's part of the opera. Okay, it's supposed to look fake. So already, like, they're trying to be like artistic here, intercutting between him watching scenes of the opera and his weird flashbacks of this other planetary war. Yeah, very much like Dune. Not even a fan of Dune, but as I said, I love the director so much. I'm totally looking forward to that movie. I barely got, like, when in my teens, I read Dune because it was a book Ryan was a big fan of.
Yeah.
And he loaned it to me, and I barely got through it. And it's not even that I didn't like the world. It's I just really can't stand Herbert's writing. I mean, this is going to sound like no pun intended, but I found his writing incredibly dry. And just, like, you're reading about this desert planet. It's so boring to me. And, of course, the 84 movie is its own thing, the David Lynch movie, which only pays a certain amount of attention to the actual books.
What's the status of that? They're probably in post-production on that by now.
Yeah, they have. I mean, I was seeing, like, stills and stuff from it.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think most of the shooting's done.
Yeah, it's Denis Villeneuve, right?
Yeah, Denis Villeneuve, he's one of my favorite directors working today. Everything he does is so awesome. That's why I'm so looking forward to Dune. Never having been a Dune fan, I'm sure I'll really like this movie.
He's got a great track record with me, man. I've liked everything of his I've seen.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go watch Prisoners again sometime soon.
Yeah, I really like that movie. Incendies is really long, but it's good. It's one of his Canadian movies before he started doing the Hollywood.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Really good drama.
Wait, maybe I have.
That's the one about, like, the Middle Eastern family.
Yeah.
And how they have to go back. Yeah.
Yeah, I have seen that one.
Yeah, it's good.
It's
that's kind of the movie that put him on the map. Like, that movie got a lot of acclaim.
It's really sad, isn't it?
Yeah. It never specifies the time period of the war, but I think it's supposed to be like what's the word I'm looking for? The Lebanon War. I think it's supposed to, like, more or less parallel that Lebanon civil war that happened in, like, the 70s and 80s. I think it's Lebanon. So yeah, at this point you're wondering, like, what the hell? Like, it's Dune. It's like, or now it's like they're on Krypton. Like, are they gonna get banished to the negative zone? Is that what's happening here? Yeah, so here it's like they're always been friends. So this seems like a really weird flashback. So, like, how would you even put this? Like, if you're trying to reasonably piece this together. So you watch the 86 movie, and you know that sometime in medieval Scotland, MacLeod meets Ramirez. It's the first time they met. So now you're thinking, well, this movie takes place in 2024. So is this flashback something that happened after the other movie? But it's not. It's not supposed to be. This flashback is supposed to have happened way before the original movie. And that's, again, why it makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. The only one. So now they're, like, getting banished through a really terrible effect. Yeah, so they were trying to lead some sort of rebellion, and it led to them being banished.
He looks like the bad guy from Ghostbusters 2 right here.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of prosthetics on to make him look old. Which I don't get either. Like, why? I can't remember. There must be a reason. Like, why has he aged if he's an immortal?
Right.
He lived, like, why? Like, in the other movie took place in 1986. This is supposed to be 2024. Yes, a normal person would age quite a bit. But I thought the whole point was he doesn't. Right. So now they're talking about ultraviolet radiation, et cetera, et cetera. Which, I mean, you see in a lot of movies, but, like, if you saw the first Highlander, you would have no idea a sequel would all be about, like, a post-apocalyptic world where, like, the ozone layer's been destroyed. Some tits there, briefly. Shield Corporation. So they're probably the evil corporation that, like, rules the world at this point, because there's always, like, one, right? Like, I remember parts, but not enough to actually guess what's going on.
I don't remember very much at all.
I was going to get attacked. It would have been so perfect if one of these punks was played by Bill Paxton.
Oh, man. Or John Travolta.
Travolta didn't have a lot going on in 91. He could have been in this.
It's like the Death Wish. I think Travolta was one of the thugs in part either 1 or 2, and there's quite a few known actors that were thugs in Death Wish movies.
So look at Shield Control, which looks like kind of like a pyramid-style building, which looks like it's just stealing again from Blade Runner, you know, because that's what the big building in Blade Runner looks like. Tyrell Corporation here came back. What this like? So I guess he's trying to infiltrate this building, or no, it's not him, it's somebody else. I have no idea who these people are, what they're trying to do. Because we saw them, well, there's a whole bunch of them too. Like, McLeod was going to, like, try to contact somebody, and they said he's not in. He said, I don't want to leave a message, and he left. But now we've got some sort of covert team trying to break in. And I don't remember who they are or what they're doing.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize they shot the arrow that far.
Like the helmets.
I guess they're just banking on these guys looking the other way the whole time.
That's how so much of this works in movies with security. You'll see, yeah, and there's always a shot of, like, somebody, like, there's a screen, and they just don't look at the screen right at that moment. Or something. It's just like, I just so happen to look at a different screen. Like, it's not even part of the plan. It's just dumb luck. And I get it. Sometimes you have to throw that into plots and stuff. But... all right, here come the Scuba Commandos. Obviously a woman, is that? That's Virginia Madsen, isn't it?
Oh, yep.
She is Louise.
The year before Candyman.
Yep. I've been thinking a lot about Candyman. When's that remake is done, I think.
Yeah. I don't know.
I was reading an interesting article not too long ago about, like, how, like, Candyman, the movie, basically, like, became its own, like, sort of legend in a way. That a lot of kids that grew up in that area would, like, you know, talk about, like, Candyman, like he was a thing and not a movie.
It's definitely like a play on the Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we used to do before Candyman came out. But I never would say Candyman 5 times in the mirror, though. I don't care if it's real or not.
I might have. I don't know. I can definitely remember being in that game. I did the Bloody Mary thing. I remember doing that a couple times at, like, camp.
Yeah. But yeah, the new movie. I mean, I've heard a lot of bad stuff about it, but it looks interesting. It's kind of a different concept, but they did change the '92 movie quite a bit from the novella.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of the instances where it's really for the better. It improves on the novella, and like, I don't want to say improves because there's nothing wrong with the novella. I just mean I really like the direction they do, because the novella, it's not even American. It's English.
Right.
Candyman has a completely different history, and this, they make it uniquely American, and they tie it into American history, and they tie it into history of like blacks in the country and stuff,
Right.
obviously with slavery and stuff. And they tie it into like the present day, because where it was shot was the Cabrini Green, whatever that's called, was one of the most dangerous housing projects in the country at the time, to the point where it was actually very dangerous trying to even shoot scenes there. There was so much urban crime. Cabrini Green, something like that.
Yeah, Cabrini Green. You're right. Yeah, I've heard stories about that place, man. Like, during the big crack boom, they would just like be sniping people, from the apartments. Just be,
like, it'd be so bad the cops wouldn't even go into the area.
They run by gangs.
Yeah, I mean,
completely.
You could commit any sort of crime in broad daylight. You call the cops. Guess what? They're not going there.
Yeah.
You got this weird cyberpunk thing going on in this movie that in no way matches up to what's been established in the first movie. Like, Highlander's like fantasy with like magic and medieval stuff, and now they've thrown into this half-assed cyberpunk reality. It's so bad.
These are like porcupine people.
Yeah.
I
love Michael Ironside, and this is part of the reason I love him. Is that he's the bad guy in so many terrible movies like this. Like, this isn't even an anomaly for him.
Like, he's good. He's never not good.
I mean, he's the bad guy in Karate Kid 4, for Christ's sake, where he tells a bunch of guys to beat up a girl. Like, so he's used to being a pretty stupid villain, and he just puts all his all into it anyway. This movie also doesn't have a Rockin' Queen soundtrack too, like the first one does.
I know. I was going to say that earlier when you brought up Highlander earlier. I've had the Queen song in my head since.
Yeah, Who Wants to Live Forever, which was specifically written for the movie.
It's a great song.
Yeah. A little sad too, because it was when Freddie Mercury was first getting sick. About that time. And he didn't have many years left to live. Mercury died in 91.
Back then, AIDS was the death sentence. Or HIV was.
Yeah.
Unless you were Magic Johnson for some reason.
I've decided I can let my laundry sit. It'll be okay. So I feel like if I miss any of this, I'm going to have no idea what's going on. I was going to run down and put my laundry and move it from the washer to the dryer, but now I don't want to miss anything.
I could pause it if you want.
Okay, I'll try to be fast then. Apologies to those watching. I'll be as quick as I can. But don't worry, Jay, I'm sure will regale you with all sorts of interesting information about Highlander.
All right, guys, we're going to pause this real quick.
I paused it at 21 minutes.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, I'll do this as quickly as I can. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, guys, paused at 21 minutes on the nose. Let's see if I can get there. But yeah, talking about Candyman, I always loved Candyman. I saw it in the theater with my brother. Actually brought me. I think my parents were out of town or something. My brother brought me to see it. I would have been like 11, and I think I've told this story before. But we saw the movie. Then we went to eat at this got a hamburger at this fairly nice restaurant, and I was drinking like tons of Cokes, right? And I had to pee really bad. And I was afraid to go to the bathroom because I just seen Candyman. But I was like 11 or something, way too old to be afraid of stuff like that. But that's how much that movie freaked me out. It was like very few movies ever affected me like that. But I said I was going to pause it, and I just kept on playing. But yeah, Christopher Lambert. I haven't seen too many of his films. I haven't really liked too many of the ones I've seen either. Uh, Trying to see. He did Fortress. I've seen Fortress. I didn't really like that one too much. We'll just take a quick look here. What else he's done? Oh yeah, Mortal Kombat. We were talking about that before. Fortress, Subway. I don't know that I've seen Subway. I haven't seen Subway. I have to check that out. See, he's not a whole lot of movies he's done. Still working to this day. Highlander is pretty much his big hit. What really put him on the map. He was in the TV series, one episode. Resurrection, I've seen that one. And he was also in Highlander Endgame and a bunch of other stuff I haven't seen. Yeah, all of his newer stuff I'm not familiar with.
Okay, not too bad.
Hail Caesar. That was very quick.
Yeah.
All right, you want to start again?
All right, another 21 minutes. Let's go back. 3, 2, 1.
Play.
All right, so Virginia Madsen is the leader of some sort of eco-terrorist group fighting against that corporation. And now she's going to meet McLeod for some reason.
Yeah, why is he aging? I thought the whole fucking purpose was they don't age.
Yeah, I think they're going to say something why. As incoherent as this movie is, I think they are going to say that. We'll see.
And what's up with all the cars are like even older than the fucking 80s, and this lady's dressed like a flapper or some shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you do see that sometimes in future type societies where they just like make it like sort of like an amalgamation, where it's just like a bunch of time periods thrown together. Sometimes it works. In this, it does not. So they're blaming him for the state of the world. I don't remember why that is, but people know who he is, and they think that the world is shitty because of something he did. Whoa, jeez.
Oh shit.
Forgot about that.
Cut her head off.
Yeah, you're still a damn Highlander. Don't take that shit. He's going to go off and give her a stern talking to for her assault with a deadly weapon there. Meanwhile, in space, again, this is Highlander.
Sorry, I'm just trying to soak all this in, man. This is
like you were saying, like it's not like people involved in the movie didn't know how stupid it was. Like you were saying, like Christopher Lambert and people were very upset by the script.
Everyone was. Everyone involved was.
Yeah, so you wonder how it even happens. I mean, there's not too many times in a series that I can think of where he still heals injuries, where like just the whole tone and everything about it is just completely overhauled for a sequel, to the point where like it's see, there's an old Volkswagen Bug for some reason. To the point where like it invalidates everything like from the first movie. It's like, oh, they're not just like immortal beings or whatever; they're like goddamn aliens.
costume design was like, yeah, make everybody look all fucked up. Give that guy a sombrero. You know?
Just everything's thrown in a blender.
Right.
Yeah, you are a terrorist. Doesn't mean you're not a terrorist fighting for the good guys, but still, by definition, you are a terrorist. Thinking that just like in Final Fantasy VII, you start off part of Avalanche is a terrorist group. Even if Shinra are the bad guys, you're still terrorists when it starts.
Yeah. Can you believe that Michael Madsen is her brother?
It's hard to believe they have anything remotely to do with each other. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true.
It really is true. Okay. I think I knew that, but at the first I thought maybe you were trying to. Yeah, I mean, it's baffling to consider.
I mean, he's. I mean, I wouldn't exactly say he's like a leading man. You know, he's kind of rough looking.
Yeah, I mean that's basically the bulk of his career. He's a character actor, right? Usually to be
Right.
some sort of rough guy, and a very good voice. I wish he'd do more voice work. Like for instance, it's probably most people forget this, but I think the first Narnia movie was pretty good, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and he actually voices the head of the witch's secret police, which is a white wolf, and is really good. You know, you can picture like a wolf, like with a Madsen's voice. It's good, but he hasn't done actually much voice work outside of that. Not that I'm aware of. Maybe he's done more recently.
I think he's a good actor.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to see him do actually be the lead in a lot of stuff. I mean, people think Reservoir Dogs and Kill Bill, pretty much when they think of him.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I know other stuff he's in, but that's usually his job to be some terrible sadistic guy.
Yeah.
Or at least a villain. Look at this now.
What the hell is this? Hoverboards? Oh, it's those porcupine guys.
Yeah. So these are the guys. They're being specifically sent to get McLeod. Our big bad sent these guys for some reason. Wow, the big tough terrorist. She hides in a dumpster.
Yeah.
You'd think she would like at least argue a little more and be like, "No, hey, I'm head of a terrorist cell. I can fight." But oh my god, look at this. Man, this is Highlander. You get a hovering alien dude shooting lasers at him, and here we go. I mean, they look like rejects from Battlefield Earth.
They're like one of the rejected designs from Dark City.
Yeah. He's very slowly getting away.
He's hobbling.
I mean, he's just barely making it here. Finally, something that's like a sword. So I don't even have your sword anymore, Highlander. Maybe they explain that. I don't know. Again, I know there's at least one other cut of this movie that's either a lot better or a lot worse. I didn't have time to read up, but I know that no matter what cut it is, it's still incoherent and it still makes no sense, especially in regards to the first one. So they can blow up a cop car with one shot, but they can't kill this guy. Although, again, you do have to cut off their head to kill him, which I guess is why they brought a sword. So that makes a little bit of sense, I suppose.
Did he send them to kill him or to bring him back?
Yeah, I thought they were supposed to bring him.
This is some terrible choreography here.
Slow and clunky. I mean, on the part of him, you gotta get it. He's supposed to be old. I mean, what's these guys' excuse? Some sort of deadly assassin that can't keep up with an old guy. Man, they've thrown every vehicle they can think of into this scene. So now we have a train too. I hope somebody comes down on a hang glider next. Once again, he's very slowly getting away. Like the train's barely moving. Which really doesn't make the scene very exciting. They're on a train that you could like outrun.
Right.
The goggles, they do nothing. Oh, good.
Yeah, why the fuck am I wearing goggles?
I mean, there was no point to have them. And then, oh, look, that's
Oh,
Cedric is
yeah.
dead.
That's cool.
So could they only be killed that way, too? That seems to suggest that would have been the only way to kill them, although I don't know why. I don't remember who they are or why they're like that or what.
There's no electricity coming out of them. Oh, wait. I spoke too soon.
That's exactly what's happening now.
So this is the quickening? What is the quickening?
Yeah, I think this is the quickening. Some sort of phenomenon that happens when he dies.
It's like, not again.
Look up some stuff about this, like any idea.
Man. Okay.
Yeah, several alternate versions have been released in an attempt to address the common complaints. The original theatrical edition is considered one of the worst films ever made. See, if you read the synopsis here on Wikipedia, I don't know if it's going by another cut or you know how sometimes in movies for a synopsis they just start chronologically, but they don't necessarily start when the movie starts, or they'll give you information before we know. Because this is already giving us all sorts of backstory at the start, saying like in '94 they're talking about how the ozone layer is saying his wife dies, some sort of disaster. By 1999, Connor McLeod becomes the supervisor of a scientific team headed by Dr. Alan Neyman, which attempts to create an electromagnetic shield to cover the planet, protect the sun's radiation. The team succeeds, giving Earth an artificial ozone layer. McLeod and Neyman are out to save humanity and believe they will remember for 1,000 years. Shield, yeah. So like, we didn't see any of that flashback stuff yet. Okay, did he just get restored to youth?
He's young now.
Did the quickening do it? Killing one of them did it for him?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Oh my god, I was joking about hang gliders. I had no clue this was happening.
I figured you hadn't seen that yet. Oh no.
It goes on the Back to the Future hoverboard. But I was honestly 100% joking about hang gliders. I had no idea this was going to happen at all. Sometimes I'm just oddly Christian.
Like a 13-year-old wrote this script. Then he comes in with a bazooka and a hoverboard. And then a jet flies over and he jumps on it.
This movie reminds me a lot of that Dolph Lundgren movie. Has a few different titles.
I Come in Peace. Yeah.
Like it looks a lot like it. It's a bunch of weird shit. Sometimes it's literally called I'm Come in Peace, which is really bad.
That's the cut I have, I think. The Blu-ray I got.
I mean, there's no good title for it, but like calling it like I Come in Peace is just like almost like a joke. It's like they're making fun of it by calling it that. Because the whole point is like he says I come in peace and then he like kill somebody, right? Like how about we just call that? Why don't we call the movie that? You know, that's kind of like calling When Harry Met Sally, I'll have what she's having. The movie.
Like the best gag in the whole movie. Put it in as the title.
Yeah, that's just the title.
Do you remember there was a Batman? I know there was a Batman figure. I don't know if it was ever in the movies or anything, but he had a like a hand gliding thing like that.
Oh yeah, there were a few. Ryan and I had a bunch of those ones based off Batman the Animated Series, and they, you know, Batman came with all sorts of crazy gear. I had one with a big wing sort of set. I don't think it wasn't from that series. That was a different one.
That's cool. I always like that stuff.
Oh, that's a good joke. The guy says, "Hey, you got a light?" And he like shoots him with something that makes him burst into flames.
Again, 13-year-old.
Solid. Man, this scene's going on way too long.
And now he's like all like determined to kill this guy. Before he was just running. He's like totally changed his whole like.
Well, now that he's back to his youth or whatever, I don't know. This is going to be stupidly easy, isn't it?
Oh, come on. And then blow up.
Yeah. It's always so easy to decapitate people. There's so many different ways.
You know, as bad as some of this is, I mean, it obviously was expensive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Its budget was over $30 million.
Because they've got like huge sweeping crane shots and stuff, which is really cool looking. But
By the way, I don't know if they mentioned it yet in the movie or we caught it, but they come from a planet called Zeist. Yeah, that's right. The Highlanders are actually weird alien beings, and they come from a planet called Zeist. And he and Ramirez actually knew each other, which invalidates the first movie. Oh, good. Hamlet. Man of infinite jest.
Oh, there he is.
What an entrance.
Marno Perner.
Well, give these actors credit. Even when a man teleports into their midst, they don't break character. What's with all these old guys playing Hamlet? Hamlet was 30 tops. There's no security at this theater.
Pardon me, laddie. So
now, go ahead.
Where did he come from? I mean, I know he just kind of appeared.
I think somehow he was like summoned by McLeod. Like McLeod did something that made him come, I think. I mean, there we go, finally. Yeah, it's kind of ruined by now.
You're ruining my play.
Ruined or made it better? I mean, he almost, like, he's already wearing something that makes him look like he could be in the play, so that's got to be confusing for everybody. They'd all think this was just like some extra actor that just decided to ruin everything.
Right.
Well, actually, I'm Spanish. No, you're not. You're Scottish. Well, actually, I'm an alien from another planet. Oh, God.
From Mother Russia.
That's what I look like.
So the thing is, he can go kill or chop all the heads off he wants to. I mean, John Connery's not getting any younger.
Yes. Yeah. Even in 1991, John Connery was pretty up there.
He's still alive, right?
Yeah, he's still alive. I'm sure he's enjoying his into retirement. I mean, at least one of those actors that retired and stayed retired, and good for him.
Retirement for like 25 years.
About 17 years, I guess.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah.
What year was League?
2003, so I just did the math there.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was thinking I was older than that.
He's like, wait, you're Christopher Lambert. We're in a terrible movie, aren't we? Yes, yes, we are.
I just realized how hot you are, McLeod.
That's true. I think that's written into his contract, too. Like, every time he plays, whatever character he plays has to, like, have, like, crazy sexual magnetism.
Oh.
There probably is a version in, like, of Mortal Kombat where Raiden, like, gets with Sonya or something. He's like, you're young and hot now, so I love you, I guess.
Yeah.
That's all it took.
Did we just fall in love?
Yeah, we did. I mean, you put me in a dumpster and had a much too long action sequence and turned into a younger man.
I smell like garbage right now.
Yeah, everything in this world does. Oh, I thought you were like a cool, eco warrior in a terrorist cell, but your heart's all aflutter for him. Look at this.
They're from fucking Flagstaff. Okay, this is a little more risque than I thought.
Well, they're gonna do it right there.
They are going straight for the panties, man. He didn't waste any time. I feel like this was a thing in the 90s. A lot of like pushed against walls and stuff.
Yeah, and it started in the '80s with the Mickey Rourke one, 9.5 weeks. That's what did it.
Which I don't know if anyone's ever tried this, but it's not the easiest thing in the world to do.
No, I just thought it's really unsatisfying in a lot of
Right.
things
For
too.
both parties.
Yeah. Really, standing up sex works best if you are of like the same height. If there's a height discrepancy between the two of you, then it becomes much more difficult.
That really comes into play with a lot of things with sex too. Like I see some people that are like, I mean, like a 1.5 foot difference in between them. Like, man, what goes on there? Because a lot of positions wouldn't work.
Yeah, even a girl I dated for like 2 seconds, she was like 4'11", and she said like the last guy she dated was like 6'4". I was like, that's like crazy.
Yeah. But did she just like spin on it? I mean, because you think like he probably couldn't, well, I mean, to be really graphic here, but he probably couldn't go from behind.
The most overrated sex, I think, is shower sex because it looks really good,
Yeah.
but in like execution, it's not that satisfying either. And I don't just mean like awkward. Even when it's working perfectly, I don't know. If everything's wet at the same time, it doesn't work as well.
It's worth a try.
Because I mean, like the girl that I lived with, a part of just our everyday was we always showered together, but
Yeah.
we almost never actually had shower sex because like it just was kind of like awkward and not pointless. It was just part of our routine to shower together, save time.
Yeah.
But and I'm not saying we never did anything in the shower. Sure, we did, but I just mean it was actually pretty rare. They're like, yes, we'll have full-on sex in the shower because like I don't think either of us thought it was really that great of a thing.
Yeah.
More of a hassle. I mean, I guess if you're like somebody who's like sexually inexperienced and you haven't done it before, it's good to check it off your bucket list, but you probably will be underwhelmed.
Right. Oh, all that stuff is, man. Like a hot tub, all that stuff is all overrated.
Yeah. I'm thinking of some other terrible sex scenes. One of the worst is definitely the pool scene in Showgirls.
Yes.
That's one of the most hilariously awful sex scenes in all of cinema.
Where she grinds against his sternum.
She's like spasming towards the end, like she's been hit by a taser, and they're in the water, and oh my god!
But she's like so far up on his body, it's like obviously fake.
Well, look, he's in Scotland. Oh, here's their big joke. They're gonna actually like dress Connery all up like a Scotsman now. Again, great writing. Does he even have any money? Because like before, yeah, both of them being immortals had amassed like a lot of fortunes, so they had tons of money. But hasn't he just like come from like another planet or plane of existence or something?
No fucking idea, man.
I don't think he has any money. Oh, he's gonna pay with like a little earring. And that guy knows his jewelry, I guess. He's like, yep, that one little earring does it. Give this guy the works. Oh, even the fucking music.
Oh, I don't have it on.
It's a dum 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 dum. It's that.
That's
Apologies if mine is too loud for the audience. What's annoying is like the music's really loud, but the dialogue's really low. I mean, I've got captions on, of course, but still. I wanted to at least be able to hear them a bit, but yeah, we got the ta-dum stuff going on here.
man, what's going on?
It's William Tell, isn't it? William Tell Overture. And this is weird too. I thought they were in a weird cyberpunky future, but they still have stores like this apparently.
Yeah, was he gonna go hunt some foxes?
Yeah. Apparently Scotland is not at all affected. It's just like the weird shithole in the States where what's his name's living? We arrange a limo for you, sure. What? You think you're gonna retire off this earring he gave you? What was in it? The Hope Diamond.
It's got like Martian dust in it or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's from the planet Zeist. And maybe it is, but why would that guy know? Or would he like have any idea what its value would be? Like, yes, this is,
Oh,
it would have been funnier if he gave it to him. He's like, what is this? He's like, that's from the Ligodium mines of Zeist. It's worth a fortune. And the guy laughs at him. Instead, they're like, yep, this will do it. Give him everything.
yeah, without question.
Now he seems completely bamboozled by an airplane. What the fuck? Or maybe I guess it's his first time in like contemporary. Because now I'm thinking back to the first movie. He's only around in the flashbacks, right? Like he's not around. Like, yeah, isn't he supposed to be dead? Oh yeah, isn't that the other thing? Didn't he die in the first movie? Like back in like the Middle Ages or whatever?
I don't remember.
I think he did. So yeah, there's quite a few things about this movie that just like completely throws stuff from the first movie out the window.
Man, I just received the notification that this show is live. How long have we been on for? Almost an hour. That's awesome.
It says live.
Yeah, no, it's live. YouTube's notifications have been.
Oh, it's just yearly. Okay, yeah, that happens all the fucking time. Big delay. What the hell, man?
They're really all over the place with this stuff in this movie. Yeah, they were ambitious. I mean, to say the least.
They were, but to come up with all this stuff that like just throws out the first movie.
Yeah, you already have I mean, it's already established. The world's already there, and then you go and you make it something completely different. That's stupid.
Yeah, and because it's not just a time jump. A time jump is one thing. They're doing more than a time jump. Because they're also changing what came before. Because they're saying he and Ramirez knew each other before they even got to Earth. And they're saying, hey, remember how Ramirez died in the last one? Well, now he's alive. You know? Jesus.
Is this a flashback?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
Katana. I don't know who the hell Katana is. She looks familiar, though.
Isn't Katana, what's his name? Ironside?
Yeah,
Isn't Ironside Katana? He's the evil general. Again, he's so much like Zod. He's like a General Zod type. And it's become very much more like that now that they're fucking aliens. He's basically the Highlander version of Zod. Okay, long fingers. Oh, now they're trying to do some fun stuff like in RoboCop. But it's not working.
That's exactly what they're doing.
I'd buy that for $1. I'm guessing in like the world of RoboCop, $1 like buys you all sorts of stuff. Like I figure like money has been like really devalued by the time by you get to the time you get to Delta City.
Oh, it's so inflated. Yeah.
Yeah, you could have like $500 and it gets you like a bus ticket or something.
Like yen. Yeah. This car was 7 million yen.
Right. So here's the other big subplot about like how they have like this big. The scientists made this big shield to give the Earth a fake ozone layer to protect it, but there's this whole thing where it's gonna like fix itself. And okay, now is this Katana?
I think so.
Man, these guys just keep popping up out of nowhere.
That sword looks plastic too.
Okay, so that wasn't a flashback. That was him on Zeiss somehow finding out how to get to Earth, and he does. I don't know how does he do it. He goes by Boom Tube. We'll just say that. Borrow from the great Jack Kirby. But yeah, you always have to give him credit. And I don't remember who the actor was that played the original villain in the first Highlander, but the one good thing about this movie is that Ironside is like the best guy to succeed in because he's so much like him. It's one thing I'll give this movie is that Ironside is a pretty good casting choice.
Totally.
In that he reminds you a lot of the guy in the first one. Just like this long-haired lunatic. He's not as big, but that's okay.
You know what? Whenever you say Michael Ironside, I automatically think of Starship Troopers.
Yeah. Whenever I say Michael Ironside, I think of the Transformers character Ironhide. He was the one that talked like this. But Prime! He was like a weird red bus thing.
Yeah.
He was sort of the grizzled old warrior. Before they introduced Cup, who was even more of a grizzled and even more old warrior. But it used to be Ironhide's job, but then Cup. I'm pretty sure he's one of the ones that died in the events of the movie, too. Speaking of changing things, right? you have the show as it exists. The movie comes along, it's like, we got new characters and new toys to sell. Kill half of the cast and bring in new guys. Hell, kill Optimus Prime, although he won't stay dead. Okay, now he's taking control of the train, for which there's no purpose. I guess they're just trying to show how much of a lunatic he is. It seems like he puts his all into it. Look at him.
Oh yeah.
How fast can these subways of the future go? It's like the bullet train times 10. I'm gonna break the sound barrier in a second. Sonic boom.
Yeah, I know the train can't go 300 miles an hour. Oh, 400 miles an hour.
Now it's over 400 apparently.
Or whatever the.
Yeah. Maybe in this future they finally use the metric system in this sense. Yeah. Everything else went wrong. Still, 400 kilometers is quite fast. Faster than any car can go. Okay, this scene is pretty funny.
This is fun, man. This is a good movie. I mean, so bad it's good.
Look at these people. They're getting smashed.
He's having a blast, too.
Oh, look at the blood and everything. I'm a little surprised.
This is cool.
Can't believe anybody in this car is still alive. Are we going to see the baby splatter next? There was a woman with a baby. Oh, look at that! He has the eyes. It was
wow.
Total Recall there for a second.
Up. Okay.
End of the line. Mind the gap.
Everyone's dead.
Okay. Yeah, that might have been one of the best introductions for a character ever. Even though it's not really his introduction because we saw him in the flashback, but still his arrival is pretty good. Meanwhile, at Not Tyrell Corporation.
Yeah, he's driving a Porsche that, I mean, in 92 or 91, it probably wasn't too old.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck here at the gate.
I mean, look, it's even got look how Blade Runner that is.
Yeah.
Because it's got that film noir effect with like the blinds and the stripes of the shadows. Like, don't tell me you're not just directly ripping off the Tyrell stuff for this. So this is the scientist he used to work with when they were part of the team to save the Earth or whatever. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. You're young and beautiful.
This was Phil Mayhew, the cinematographer.
Yeah. I think he definitely was aping some Blade Runner there. I mean, set design too, of course.
Casino Royale, The Saint, The Core, Goldeneye.
Oh. I love Casino Royale and Goldeneye. Those are two of my favorite Bond movies. All right, December 99.
He did The Long Good Friday. That's a good movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm having a 99. Yeah, that's when they thought that they saved the world, but then it all backfired. 94, there was like some crazy disaster, and a bunch of people, including his wife, died. But then by 99, him and the scientists, yeah, here it is. This is where they first come up with the idea of making the weird shield to go around the world. And they're like, we're saving the world. But it's all going to backfire within a few years.
It's too much going on.
I guess it is. And again, when you think what the first movie was, does it make... I mean, this movie is like got a strong environmental message to it. It's sci-fi. It's cyberpunk style. I mean, what do we know about McCloud in the first movie? Well, we knew that like he was an immortal and he'd been around for centuries. But like the idea that, yeah, it was just natural that in the 90s he decided to become a scientist to, you know, stop global warming or whatever. Like, no, we didn't get that sense of his character originally. I get it. If you're a man who's lived for centuries, you probably have tried all sorts of different things. But still, it seems really odd that, yeah, of course he's part of the team of scientists trying to save the world. He's the Highlander.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, this works at first. It's just, it takes a few years for them to realize it's going to backfire or something. But at first, I think it's great. Yeah, so the whole thing is, that's what the SHIELD Corporation are, the people that control what's left of the SHIELD, and you've got terrorists that want to take the SHIELD down and blah, 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 blah.
That's how it says this movie sounds woke.
It's an interesting kind of woke. It's like a 6 degrees separation weirdness woke. Badly misguided woke, I don't know.
And Silver Shamrock, yeah, we do plan on doing the first movie also. We just kind of backwards order.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of glad, because I'm having a good time with this thing.
Oh, it's so stupid. Again, I mean, watching either of the movies together, like, it's hard to believe they have anything to do with each other at all. Like, this doesn't even, like, this movie's so bad and divorced from, like, what happened in the first movie that it doesn't even look like fan fiction. Because fan fiction would be more faithful. This kind of makes me want to watch all of them now. But I don't know. This one's bad in an entertaining way. I'm pretty sure the one in 94 and 99 are just flat out bad. Like, there's nothing to get from them. I don't even remember the 94 one. But the 94 one is basically one of the main reasons why Donnie Yen never became a star in the U.S. Because he'd been in China all the time, then he finally decided to do an American movie, and that's what he was in. And then he very promptly just went back to China and made movies there again.
That was Endgame?
It was the 94 one, I think.
Endgame was a little bit later, I think.
Endgame's 99, I think. I don't remember what 94 is called.
So what it would in part 3?
Yeah.
The Endgame is 4, I guess.
Let's see what this will say what the next one is.
I feel like this scientist is about to tell me about his diabetes.
Yeah, he's got a strong Wilford Brimley vibe, doesn't he? So yeah, there's another alternate version of this. I'm trying to find out. In 95, Shaggy made a director's cut version known as the Renegade version. The film was reconstructed largely from existing material. Certain scenes were removed and others added back. Yeah, it's supposed to be a really different cut. Yeah, see? All references to the Immortals being aliens from another planet were eliminated. Instead, this cut reveals the Immortals are from an unspecified distant past on Earth, banished by priests into random locations in the future to keep the prize from being won in their lifetime. That makes a lot more fucking sense than this garbage. Yeah. Oh, I missed you too, Viz. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right in these times of quarantine stuff. I was thinking of what was it? Oh yeah, I felt bad about, you said like for his birthday, Jeremy would go to the comic book store. I understand his pain because I can't go to mine either. Mine is still technically open, but you can only go down if you're specifically picking something up. And so I got to go there once, but since new comics aren't coming out, I cleaned out my account and I can't really go back. There's going to be a few releases after the 20th, but I have no idea if that's going to affect anything I'm buying. I just want to go browse, but we can't browse. So I've been looking at a lot of stuff online, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah. Actually, yesterday, things are opening up around here a little bit, like barbershops and gyms opened up yesterday.
It seems like a bad idea. I mean, people want to go. I'm going to say go ahead and go, but personally, I would not.
I mean, everyone was being very, very careful from what I could see.
Oh, here's the weird, annoying cabbie trope that's in so many movies. In a lot of sci-fi movies too, right?
Yeah.
I really hate the cabbie guy in what is it? Again, Total Recall. Remember, he's like the black guy. He says he has like 9 kids, but he actually lied. Like, I hated that character so much. Is Michael Ironside in Total Recall?
Yeah, I believe so.
No wonder I keep thinking of it. Yeah, he's like a bad guy in that too.
Is he?
So that's just a year before this movie.
Shit, I'm trying to think of the bad guy in Total Recall. Let them have air.
Yeah, I can't remember names.
Fucking shit. I'm gonna look it
I
up.
know that Arnold was Quaid.
Yeah. It's a really dumb name, is why I want to figure it out.
Well, now he's gonna kill the caddy. Or maybe he's not. This guy's so random. Who knows what he's gonna do?
Cohagen.
Right.
Cohagen, let them have air.
Like, he already can't speak that well. Stop giving him names that are really awkward for him to say.
He can't say his own name.
I know. Like, it should have been, like, understood if you were writing a script for an Arnold Schwarzenegger vehicle. You give, like, the bad guy's name, like, White and Miller and stuff like that, you know?
Oh, that looks fake. California.
Oh, I forgot all about him. Ramirez is still flying. Holy jeez, this is taking a long time.
And twin engine, not a jet plane.
I mean, that's believable because, I mean, around the same era, I rode in a few of these.
Like, across the ocean, though?
No, they were short things because like, Sydney isn't an international airport, but it used to be like you could, I guess you still can. You can fly from Sydney to Halifax, and yeah, we would take propeller planes doing that.
Huh. This is funny. Wow.
They really should show those on planes. So he's here, I guess, just to kill McLeod. I assume that's the point of the plot. McLeod's on Earth. I'll go to Earth and kill him. Very good. Really? We've never seen anything like this as far as I know, but okay.
Because it's shitty?
Yeah. Shitty and fake looking. Dismal. Like, keep rolling. Scene was supposed to end 30 seconds ago, but he's still talking.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, in a lot of art, neither Helen of Troy nor Joan of Arc were known for having dark hair. And Joan of Arc was never known for being beautiful. I take issue with your grasp of history, Mr. Immortal Man. Again, they don't explain where he's been or anything. You watch the first movie, he died. They never say that he's back to life or anything. It's like it never happened. So this is like one of the reasons why it's considered one of like the worst sequels, because like no matter how bad a sequel is, like usually what the one thing you can do with it, even if you can't make it as good as the original, is you still make it line up the original. This doesn't. This is just like, whatever happened in the original doesn't even matter. Okay, this is back to post 99. Is this a flashback, I think?
Yeah, man, it's fucking confusing.
It's very confusing.
Like, at least when he was old, you knew that it was, present day.
Right, okay, yeah, so this is his wife. Is that his wife? Yeah, so that's his wife. So this is 1994. So this is before. This is even before 99. This is 94. The son kills all these people. Then after 94, he joins the team of scientists, and by 99, they put up the shield. Okay. But this doesn't even specify that there. We're like, what the hell? When is this?
This is when he joined after she died, I guess.
Yeah. But I mean, it's hard to piece together unless you're reading some shit about it like we are. Like, this movie's so incoherent.
I've got to stop this son.
It's my job as a Highlander.
Yeah. At least I've got time. Solar radiation's not going to kill me as long as my head's still attached. So, I mean, there was always options of, like, not going in the sun, right?
Yeah.
And they just like, fuck it, I need a tan.
I mean, there's just so much. Like, I like films that jump around in time, but you have to do it properly, and this does not. This is just a confusing mess. Okay, this says that. Okay, this does acknowledge that Ramirez died. At least I don't know how, but it suggests that McLeod summons Ramirez back to life. So they are somehow acknowledging that Ramirez died in the last movie, although they don't really explain how he summons him back to life. It's just like, I want Ramirez back. Poof, there he is.
You could just summon them back to life, so why does it matter if they die?
Yeah, and why didn't you do it ages ago?
Right.
Once again, so they're not ignoring what happened in the first movie. They're just undercutting it horribly. Because it was at least a dramatic moment in the first movie, right? Like, Ramirez got killed. He was his best friend, and he died. And then he had to live all those centuries without him. Now, in this movie, there's like, and we can bring him back. Are we back in the present?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think we are, because they're talking together. Had some respect for the stupid world's stupid religions.
Huh.
We must never fight on holy ground, even though apparently the fact that this movie suggests that we are aliens really throws out the window any idea or, definition of what we would consider holy ground to be.
Wow, are these like Greek Orthodox?
I think so, yeah. Some sort of Orthodox.
I used to have a friend Greek Orthodox, and whenever they would have their mass, they would have to stand the entire mass. I couldn't sit down.
Yeah, the Ukrainian side of my family, my father's side, is Catholic, but it's the Orthodox Catholic, so it's not like Roman. So it's not like Roman Catholic. So it's really quite different from the Roman Catholicism.
I'm not very familiar with non-Roman Catholic.
Well, it's still Catholicism, but it's kind of like almost like a rogue Catholicism because it's not under the Pope.
Ah, gotcha. And it probably has a lot of like weird rules and traditions and stuff.
Yeah, I don't even remember most of them. It's been a long time since I went to that. The main thing I remember of that is I'm sure you've been to ordinary Catholic masses, or sometimes you know how they have what's that stuff? The smelly stuff, the incense stuff. I'm sure. Have you ever been to like services where they've got like incense burning? Yeah. Well, my main takeaway of being at the Ukrainian ones was they have like these things on chains that have the incense, and they really like swung them around very aggressively as they walked around. Like, I kept thinking those are going to go flying. And man, I can't think. My head is swimming because there's so much incense.
Yeah, it's real funky smelling stuff too.
Yeah, that seemed to be a big part of their services at the Ukrainian church.
Yeah, the Episcopalians used to do a lot of that.
Technically, I'm a member of that church, but I never went. I mean, I went here and there, but the church I went to was my mother's, which was a Protestant church.
I was raised Southern Baptist, and then my parents converted to Episcopalian, so I was baptized Episcopalian, confirmed Episcopalian, and then in my adult years I converted to Catholicism.
Yeah, interesting.
So I've run the gambit of.
Yeah. No, I was raised Protestant, pretty white bread stuff. I went to the occasional, on special occasion, here and there, Ukrainian thing, but I didn't really understand what was going on because they spoke Ukrainian and Latin.
Oh, really?
Through a lot of it. But that was only once a type thing. And then I never converted. I just drifted away from religion in general.
That's on your dad's side is Ukrainian?
Yeah, my dad's Ukrainian.
Does he speak Ukrainian?
No. His father did. Although, on both sides of my family, like neither side of my family has been in Canada that long. Like I was born here, my parents were born here, their parents were born here, and their parents were born in Europe. So
you're like fourth generation.
Yeah, on both sides.
That's cool.
So yeah, so my grandfather on my father's side, grandfather in Ukrainian is Guido, so I call him Guido. So Great Guido being his father, he's from Ukraine, he spoke Ukrainian and stuff.
Right.
I mean, he died way before I was born. What is this place?
There's always some weird factory setting they have to have a fight in.
Yeah. This must be some sort of like scientific place maybe that was dedicated to the shield. Yeah, but you're right. That's actually, that's even on the show, isn't it? Every time I saw the show, they were having a fight in like some sort of like factory. It's all about like swinging swords on catwalks.
Yeah. I mean, it works, but it's
it works, but
it gets kind of
clunky.
Yeah.
How they keep putting it into the plot. I mean, I'll give Highlander this. It's got to be one of the trope codifiers for like badass long coat.
Yeah.
There definitely were movies that predated Highlander, but still, Highlander maybe brought out the whole badass long coat with a sword.
Yeah.
It's usually the badass long coats for like gunslingers and stuff, or guys like Le Samurai in that French movie. This, you got long coats and long swords. Get Michael Irons.
Yeah,
oh, that looks real. Yeah, really realistic.
I was reading in the trivia that in one of these fights, he almost severed Michael Ironside's thumb. Because apparently he has really bad eyesight. Lambert.
So now the definition of the prize in this movie is it gives the victor the choice to either grow old and die on Earth or to return to Zeist.
I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that they're aliens.
Now, luckily, the Renegade cut takes all that out because it is so stupid and just makes it that they are, which makes a lot more sense, that they were immortal beings from a time in Earth's past, which I'm fine with.
Right.
It makes a lot of sense that way. Like, one of my favorite things, legends, is like, society, the idea that like either humans or there was a pre-human race that like existed even before like the early societies. You hear about a lot of that like the Conan legend, right? Like Hyperborea, right? That like in real history, like the earliest human civilization started what? At the earliest, like 8,000 years ago, maybe. But this idea that even thousands of years before that, there were either humans or some pre-human race that had like fairly advanced societies, and then they all disappeared. Like, so to me, Highlander could work into that really well. You could say, okay, they're from some race that like that predated normal humanity, so that works. And I guess that's what the Renegade cut makes it seem more like. But we are watching the normal theatrical cut, which they very much are aliens, and the whole thing is that he and Ramirez were part of a failed rebellion and were exiled to Earth. And now, all these years later, the general that sent them is back to finish the job. I don't know. Virginia Madsen's had very little to do in this movie.
It had to be second build.
I mean, she started out like he was a fairly proactive character, being like part of that terrorist cell and stuff, but ever since he got young, she's just there to be his side piece. Wow, she looks even better in this movie than other movies of the era.
Yeah.
She's always a very attractive actress, of course, in the film. Oh, of course, now he has to talk about his wife. The first wife, the one he lived in medieval Scotland. 1542, so not medieval, but the Renaissance era Scotland, I guess. Because, the first movie, the flashbacks, it was easy. You had, like, 1500s,
right,
and then you had 1986, and that was it. This movie, he's talking about 1500s, We have an unspecified time in the past, well before that, when he was on another planet.
Right.
We have 1994. We have 1999, and we have 2024.
So there's like 5 different time periods we're talking about.
All very busy.
Yeah, I always liked the idea of it was just like some random person that was given the gift of being a Highlander. You're just born with it. There's some like kids that have it. They're not quite grown up yet.
Yeah.
And
Do they talk about that in the series?
yeah,
Yeah, I figured.
they have to. He like fights a different one every fucking episode. So
Yeah, I figured.
and it ran like at least a few seasons, I think.
He's McLeod too, isn't he? Aren't they? Are they both McLeods?
I think they're both McLeod, but different.
Yeah. I think the one on the show is Duncan, isn't it?
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, Adrian Paul.
This is Connor. This is Connor McLeod. I think this show one is Duncan. Is that Ramirez?
I think so.
Yeah.
We're just joshing.
I love the rules of this too. He summoned him back to Earth and life, but he could only summon him to Scotland. So he had to, go through the trouble of, getting on a plane and coming across. Like, I know we're friends. I know who you are now, but let's keep fighting for fun, I guess.
Hell, why not Madrid?
Yeah.
You're gonna summon him somewhere.
He's the Spaniard after.
Yeah.
Never understand that casting.
But you said you had friends that were fans of the TV series, and
Yeah.
I did too. I had friends that were huge fans, and I mean, I watched it. I wasn't really a huge fan or anything, but
that's why I saw the '99 one in theaters. Because I went with them. Because they knew they were fans of the TV series. They thought the first movie was pretty good, and they acknowledged that the other 2 movies were bad. But they really had hope the '99 one would be good because it combined Highlanders, including with the show, which is what they liked. And then, of course, it's just not good at all.
I had friends that had replica swords.
Wow.
Of the, I know the TV show, but maybe from the movies as well. But yeah, they were pretty big fan.
I mean, I'm a little surprised I was never interested in the show because one thing I really like is swords. I love swords, and my favorite sorts of fighting scenes in movies are like sword fights and stuff. But I don't know, it just never, I was aware of it, but yeah, my history with Highlander is very meh. It's like, it's there, it's okay.
It's like a lot of episodic television, you get like 20-something episodes a season. It gets bogged down, you have to create a lot of things to just extend, episodes and stuff. So, I mean, there's a few good ones in there, but there's probably just a lot of filler episodes.
There was no need to give him a different name. He just called him like Luis Sanchez, or just called him something Sanchez. I was like, I get you can't tell him what exactly he is, or what exactly he is and you are, but you don't have to lie about his name. If he said this is Ramirez, she's gonna go, oh, Ramirez, the immortal war, that died. Like, she's not gonna know.
He was just talking to her about his wife from the 1500s. So.
Oh yeah, so he can tell her. That's right. She knows exactly what he is. Yeah, I briefly forgot that he had hidden that. Of course, we saw him get young again, so obviously there was no other way to explain that anyway. Yeah, so why didn't he just say, "Here's my friend, who is another one of my kind," or whatever? We knew each other back in the 1500s.
This guy's been in a ton of stuff. He was in like Scrubs, TV show Scrubs.
He'd be quite a bit older now. Does he still look a lot the same?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Some people are like that. Yeah, he's like the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. now.
He's done a lot of things.
The S.H.I.E.L.D. Corporation, he's like the name.
What an original name, but I guess.
Okay, so I am reading some other stuff. The way Ramirez, he died in Scotland, so that's why he's brought back in Scotland, I guess, is the explanation there. He died in Glencoe, Scotland, so to be resurrected, he comes back in the same place. I like how they just gloss over it too in the movie too. Ramirez's earring is valuable enough to pay for both a new suit he acquires from the finest and oldest tailor shop in Scotland and for an airplane ticket to New York City. Like they just say, well, because that's what the movie does.
John McGinley. He was in Point Break. He was in Seven. He was in Platoon. He was in Highlander 2: The Quickening.
Yeah, so of course he's gonna like team up with these guys for some reason, just only because McLeod opposes them, I guess.
Right. Well, we're all bad guys.
It's like we're all bad guys. I know I'm a bad guy from another planet and stuff. Oh, you think you can get rid of him? Yeah, they call him Attila. That's actually kind of funny.
Oh, okay. It's just gonna be funny.
Yeah, he's gonna get up and.
Oh, he was in Surviving the Game. Yeah, he was really good in that too.
I've heard of that. I haven't seen it.
It's Rutger Hauer. Ice-T plays they hunt humans.
Yeah.
And Charles S. Dutton is in there.
This scene's been done a million times in movies too. It's like, hey bad guys, I'm the new bad guy. Oh, I'm not impressed by you, I'll kill you. You can't kill me. I'm the new bad guy.
Yeah, I'd really like to do something where we talk about different tropes in these type of movies. There's so many. Like you were talking about the cabbie. We could go and like list a bunch.
There's always a scene where like either it's like a really just big crazy city, or it's like this. It's like a future Cybertug style city, and you have like the cabbie who's like wisecracking and everything, talking about like the way things work in this world. They're like there to help establish the rules.
Right. Partner.
The Highlander. It's like, okay, I have no idea what that is. It's like, okay, yes.
And you're from Zeist, you said? Okay. Say no more.
Yeah. Can you can take a look there at the Rolodex and call up the Highlander for him? Our younger viewers don't know what a Rolodex is.
That is true.
Yeah, look it up. I'm not done.
Back in the day when you had to remember your telephone numbers.
Just good at it. There's phone numbers from people I knew like when I was in junior high that I still remember.
Right, I did too. I was thinking about that earlier today, actually.
Nowadays, people can't even remember their own phone numbers.
Right.
That's fairly unimpressive. That's the best you could get. Just like a plastic thing around it.
It's a shield.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the effect itself is bad, so I guess the model of it shouldn't be very good either.
Wasn't there an episode of The Simpsons about that? Where they built a thing around the world like that?
Well, there was, of course, the Who Shot Mr. Burns double-parter where he made a thing that blocked out the sun.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of.
And then in the movie, there was a thing where all of Springfield was encased in like a bubble. So maybe that's what you're thinking of. I've only seen the movie once.
I've seen. I think I own it actually, and I don't even remember that part.
Well, that's really what happens. They cause some sort of environmental disaster, and it leads to like a big bubble being put over it. Basically, the same thing as Under the Dome.
Right.
I'm gonna sneeze. One more. Nope, that's it.
One and done.
There was only one. There can be only one.
There could be only one.
Dude, says Sean Connery. Oh, this will be so funny. The screenwriters think.
Dude, hey, what's up, shithead? Laddie.
He's even got driving gloves.
And he's
Very
got
classy.
a trope. Driving like that is a fucking trope in movies.
I'm driving.
Yeah, I know. It's
You're going a straight line. You don't have to do this. That makes your car dance. I know, because I do it sometimes.
Yeah.
That was their plan? I mean, I realize that bullets can't kill them, but it still fucking hurts.
It looks pretty cool, though.
Got to give these guys credit, too. Maybe they understand bullets can't kill them, because they won't stop. Shield Corporation, like, the bullet budget is pretty big, so. Oh, his jeans.
They're worth so much more now.
Yeah. I want to buy those. I want to buy Christopher Lambert's squib jeans. How the fuck did they bring her?
How the fuck did she not get shot? They shot up every... Bullets went through that entire car.
That makes their plan even worse, because they were taking someone that could actually definitely die. That was a terrible plan. That put her at horrible risk. Like, if only one bullet got through, it could have killed her. That was not a good plan, boys. Because, I mean, I get it. We go in, make it seem like we're dead, and we can infiltrate, but...
Right.
Yeah.
And look, those bullets went straight through the metal in that car. There's no way it wouldn't have gone in the trunk.
Yeah. She wrapped it like a lead blanket?
Huh.
What they have? I like corporate. Is that a Wendy's bag?
That's a Wendy's bag.
Holy hell. It's good to know Wendy's is still alive and kicking in this weird post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah. That's all restaurants are Wendy's in this world.
Yeah. I always thought that was a good rule. Demolition Man.
Yeah.
They had, what is it, the fast food wars or whatever.
Yeah, it's Taco Bell.
And a guy that faints. I've never seen that movie either.
And in the UK, I believe it's Pizza Hut.
They're breaking so much new ground.
Whoa.
Big industrial complex. Sean Connery did manage to do a couple decent movies after this. It's hard to believe.
You're the man now, dog.
I count that among them, actually. It's not great, but it's decent.
Finding Forrester, is that the name of that one?
Yeah. And that's 99. And, of course, he did The Rock, which is awesome.
The Rock is good. It's one of the good Michael Bay movies.
I know. That's one of the most frustrating things about Michael Bay. It proves that he can do a good movie. He just would rather not. But, I mean, I get it. The Rock is over the top and crazy as a lot of his other movies, but it's just done in a much better way.
Yeah, a lot of people like Armageddon. I'm not the biggest fan.
That's one of those movies that, that I was completely satisfied with when I saw in the theater, but I was a teenager and,
Yeah.
No. So, the main thing that bothers me about the movie is, like, the melodrama. It's so overly sappy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen at least the clip of, like, Ben Affleck doing commentary on that movie, right? Where he's like, I asked Michael why they thought it made more sense to take, like, a bunch of oil drillers and train them as astronauts instead of taking astronauts and training them as oil drillers.
Yeah.
He was like, shut up, that's why, or something. Like, Armageddon's the movie that, like, almost single-handedly, like, as you go from somebody who watches movies as a kid and stuff to a point where, like, you become aware of, like, actors and who they are and stuff. Like, that movie introduced me to, like, a generation of actors. Like, that's how I got to know who people were. It's like, Ben Affleck. That's Ben Affleck.
We got that great Aerosmith track.
Yeah. Don't want to close my eyes. You've never heard there is a country cover of that. And oh my God, it's even worse.
I haven't heard that, no.
Yeah, I don't know who is it, but it sounds like exactly what you expect. It's the typical country voice guy singing that movie. And of course, he doesn't say babe, right? He doesn't go, miss you, babe. He goes, because I miss you, and I don't want to miss a thing.
Sounds good. I'd like to hear it.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it might work.
It might be an improvement depending on how you feel about Steven Tyler, I guess.
I hate that period Aerosmith. Well, I hate Aerosmith in general, but I really hate that period Aerosmith. The Get a
90s.
Grip Aerosmith, the music. Yeah, I like the videos with Liv Tyler and um,
Oh,
fucking Alicia.
Alicia Silverstone.
I like the videos. I watch them quite a bit, but that music
Yeah,
is.
they're basically the same song. Like Crazy and Crying are
Yeah.
like the same song. They sound almost entirely the same.
And then you remember Pink?
Yeah,
Pink is my favorite color.
yeah.
I heard that song was about pussy.
They're so subtle.
Yeah.
I don't like it really any Aerosmith. They're harmless to me. Like I don't dislike them strongly the way I do like a lot of hair metal and stuff. They're just they're fine. Like I get it. You look at a guy like Steven Tyler and the way he sings and stuff like that. It's not for me, but it is what he should be doing. You can't see Steven Tyler working like an insurance company or something. Same thing with a guy like that motherfucker from Van Halen.
Vince Young.
No, no, the singer.
Um,
Not Sammy Hagar, the other one.
David Lee Roth.
Yeah, David Lee Roth. Like nothing about David Lee Roth appeals to me. But when you see him on stage bouncing around and hear his voice, you get it. Like it's a rock star thing. Like it's gonna appeal to a lot of people. Yeah, you can't have David Lee Roth in an ordinary job. It wouldn't make any sense.
What the fuck is this?
You're missing the fact that Amazing Grace is playing on bagpipes right now.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
So they must have ran out of music on run out of money on the music budget.
This is what plays when Ramirez dies in the first one.
So is he about to die here again?
I don't remember.
Maybe that's why they're playing it
It
again.
seems like I assume he's going to make another sort of sacrifice. Will I ever see you? Who knows, Highlander? Who knows? The writing in this series is so shitty they can kill me and bring me back as much as they want. Although, I don't know. From an acting standpoint, it seems like a terrible decision to come back to this crazy series, and he never does.
Save yourself, Moneypenny.
So he just like turned into pure energy there, I guess. I don't know. It seemed like he didn't even have to stay. It seemed like he could have run out of the room. So once again, I have a slight issue with the writing of this movie. Slight issue.
What's the runtime on this thing? He's dead already. I guess we're almost finished. So
yeah, it's not a lot left.
I gotta say, man, this is really blown by.
Because as bad as it is, it still manages to be entertaining, I guess. It's the difference, right? Because sometimes you're watching a bad movie and it just drags on and on because it's just, boring. This movie makes no sense and it's full of plot holes and messy storytelling, terrible, terrible narrative, terrible design choices, terrible choreography and stuff, but it still comes together in a way that's entertaining to watch.
That's another trope right there.
I don't even know what they succeeded in. Why were they there? Were they just trying to kill Shield Corporation? Because they're actually leaving now, right? Like they left, like their job's over, and now they're just being chased down by Ironside.
Ramirez.
So apparently, this scene is a lot longer in the Renegade cut or something too. Wait, let me just double check that and see what it says here. Wait a second, we're not watching the Renegade cut.
No.
But this says new sequences include a battle between McLeod and Katana atop a moving vehicle after they escape the security facility. McLeod and Louise climb through a mountain tunnel to emerge above the shield to confirm that the radiation level. The new version removes a major continuity gap from the theatrical version, which had merged two separate sword fights between McLeod and the Katana into one longer climactic battle. Oh, let's watch for that. The director's cut version restores them to two separate battles, although it never shows when or how Condor reacquired his katana. Okay, so they're going to have a sword fight that's going to somehow be an extension of one we already saw, is what I'm guessing. I don't know how, because he's going to have a... Let's see. They're supposed to have a sword fight at some point after this. And apparently in this original cut, it's going to show some of parts of that first sword fight they had.
Okay. A sword fight.
Yeah. Like they said, Connor doesn't even have his sword. So is he just going to get one out of nowhere? I think that's what's going to happen. Connor's just going to have his sword out of nowhere for no reason soon. I don't even know what they accomplished. They went in with Ramirez. Some like fan thing was going to crush them. Ramirez sacrificed himself to save them, and they left. Like, did they stop the bad guys? They're driving away.
I have no idea. I don't know why they went there and what they accomplished.
Yeah, because the whole thing was like, it's accomplished. We can leave now. Oh, but we're still being chased by Ironside, Katana. Okay, so now they're trying to do something about the shield thing itself.
So why does he want to destroy the shield again?
It's something like they found out like the Earth is finally like starting to like heal itself or something. Like the ozone layer is actually coming back naturally, and like the fake one is now just interfering with it or something. It's something like that.
Okay.
And I think they're also saying like Shield Corporation knows this, but they don't want anybody to know because they want to stay in power or whatever. I think. Yeah, this is a very incoherent movie.
Yeah, I feel like I shouldn't have to ask this many questions.
Like I said, I have to keep referring to the Wikipedia article just to keep.
I've seen it before.
I've seen it before, but it's just a bunch of blurs.
Yeah. So what is this?
I don't know. Like, do you have to like climb is there like an off switch for this thing? Are they trying to reach the off switch or something? Is that what they're doing? Look, he went back. He's back at the building. Why are they acting like it's over? They know he's still alive. Yeah, even the big fan and like everything about this is just like Tyrell's office. Yeah. Except they keep using it over and over.
Over and over.
I can only assume that there's like some sort of off switch or some thing they have to enact.
Why is it shooting like lasers and bombs and stuff all around him though?
No idea. Especially considering look where they're coming out from. Like that really doesn't explain things, does it? Like where was all that electricity coming from?
Inside the mountain?
Because now they're just on like a fairly natural looking mountain peak.
All right.
I wonder where they shot this. It's probably like a gravel pit somewhere.
Did I drop some acid or some shit? Why am I not able to figure out what's going on in this damn movie?
Because the continuity is awful.
And that looks terrible.
Wait, so there's mountains on Earth that are actually above the shield? The shield doesn't even go higher than some mountains? What kind of half-ass thing is this? No wonder it didn't work. The Earth's atmosphere is still going.
So that is the shield.
I think so. Because that's why everything looks better, right? Because it's like, see? Because that's the thing. They found out that over the years, the Earth has like repaired the ozone layer itself. But the corporation or whatever, Shield, has been lying to people because they want people to think they still need this. And they're selling, seeing like beyond it, everything's a good again, but we don't know that. But like, how low is the goddamn thing that mountains go above it? Somebody should have discovered that secret a long time ago, don't you think? Like, it's not even suggested that they're on like one of the highest mountains in the world. Like, they're somewhere where in like the Midwest. I don't even know where they are. So like high mountains like the Himalayas and shit would be way over it. And I get like people don't live there, but still people climb.
These two idiots need to call each other partner a couple more times.
Yeah, just to get that message
Get that fucking joke over with a few more times.
We need another guy to come in and faint. But
so,
you can't. But she, oh, my medication. That's still one of the best movie parodies. It's from The Simpsons itself. Where he goes, when he becomes smart, after they take the crayon out of his brain, he's smart. He goes to see a romantic comedy called Love is Nice, and everybody in the theater is laughing, and he doesn't understand why they're laughing.
Huh.
It's like, this movie's painfully predictable. You know she's going to marry Richard Gere. It's like, what? I thought she was going to marry that rich snob. Ably played by Bill Paxton. It's Bill Pullman, you fool! Gets hit with a board. Oh, and then he killed the other bad guy. Didn't see that coming either. This movie's really throwing curveballs.
God damn it, I'm confused. So
And why
what?
are we getting shots of like where's Virginia Madsen at this? Okay, there she is. Couldn't say. There must be a point to this. The whole point was she was infiltrating. Or no, she's with him. Wait,
Is she?
what?
Yeah.
She's
So
with him.
that's what's creating the whole thing right there, right?
Okay, so it's not part of their building. It's on top of this mountain. Wouldn't they have like a ton of security up here? Instead. And how did he beat him there? And there, he's got his sword for no reason. He lost that sword ages ago.
That's a different sword, though.
No explanation of where he got it.
Right. I think in the series he used a katana, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, that's not his normal sword. But there's no explanation in this movie to where he got this one.
He uses like a broadsword or something normally, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like a.
In the original movie, like the end scene is like they both have big swords like Michael Ironside. Which is really weird because Ironside's character's name is Katana.
Right.
But Katana doesn't use a katana. Now let's see if we can find any shots of like an earlier sword fight edited into this. Okay, you can't stick your hand in there.
Because
Good to
it
know.
does something.
I think like Highlander like breaks the record for like sparks.
Yeah.
Like swords missing and colliding with metal and causing sparks.
Or how else are you going to create, drama on two guys that, don't know fight choreography?
Yeah. And two guys that can't really injure each other with swords very much until they cut their heads off.
Right.
I mean, shouldn't he be healing as we speak? It's like he
Right.
crippled me in the cloud, even though
Hurry up.
his wound should be closing Wolverine style. He didn't even say there can be only one. That seems like a huge missed opportunity. Oh, there it is.
Here we are.
There. He said it afterwards. My apologies. The movie did do one thing right.
I'm coming.
Now, this is supposed to say that, like, that means he is one. Like, he's won the prize now. Because Ramirez is gone and the other guy's gone. And now he's won the prize, which is kind of a shitty prize when you think about it. It's either return to his stupid planet or lose his immortality and just become old like a human and die.
If you're an immortal, why would you want to lose your immortality?
I guess there's the point, like, just being tired of living, I guess. But isn't the whole thing, like, he's found, like, more to live for again? It's like, my wives keep dying, but the good news is they keep getting new ones. I love these human women. I get older, but they stay the same age. Yes, they do.
All right.
All right. All right, we got to be the only people to make that connection. What the fuck is he doing?
Okay.
I don't remember this. He's going to walk into it? Is this to kill himself? Is this to stop it? We're going to find out.
This is, to destroy it. That's how you do it. You get into it. Brrr.
Yeah, so now everybody can finally see, like, the stars.
Okay. So he's not dead.
Who's Marcus? What character was Marcus? I don't remember a Marcus. Just reading here about the ending. So he goes back. He disappeared, right? Oh, no, there he is.
Yeah, no, he's back. I don't see a Marcus on here.
No, me neither. Okay, so anyway, he broke the thing. Now everybody can see the sky. Let's see what happens here. Romantic kiss.
Yeah, so now he's going to live out his life.
Oh, Ramirez is talking.
They're gonna have sex again right there, standing up.
From what I've read, what we've watched isn't the original cut or the Renegade cut. It's like some sort of combination of the two. Because this is not the theatrical ending. This is the better ending. In the theatrical ending,
look, this is longer.
The original, she's Marcus.
Okay.
She's Marcus. She's Louise Marcus.
Ours
McLeod then claims the prize. It says in the theatrical cut, McLeod then claims the prize by returning to Zeist with Marcus. But that's not what happened here. But that was a theatrical ending. But in this, it says, the director's cut. Yeah. Blah. Well, there was a thing about the ending.
Look, the theatrical cut was only an hour 31 minutes. This is an hour 49.
Yeah, I think this is the better version. I think this is the supposed better version. I guess all that stuff we saw on Zeist, they just never actually said Zeist. Right?
I never saw Zeist.
Right? So even though it very much looked like another planet, and they even used the words planet, in this cut, this was supposedly the better version, I guess. I guess this was the director's cut. Which is, so this is actually better than the original theatrical cut, and it's still awful.
And there's so many different versions of this movie.
Yeah. So at least this ending's better. In the original ending, he claims the prize by returning to Zeist, and he takes her with him, which is stupid. Reviewing the 2004 special edition, David Ryan, its DVD version, gave a score of 69 out of 100, said, "This is the best version of this film that the producers can make with the material they have on hand. It's not a particularly good film, but it's infinitely superior to the original version. What was once a horrible, horrible film has become downright tolerable and actually somewhat entertaining at times." So I guess we just saw that version. So yeah, so the version we just watched, the Zeist stuff, they never actually specifically use the word Zeist or anything or suggest that. So the one we just watched doesn't necessarily make a point of saying they're from another planet. But that's how it was originally. And this also has the better ending where he doesn't return to the planet with her.
I think this is the Renegade cut.
It has to be. So we just watched the better version, and it's still pretty bad.
109 minutes, 27 seconds. That's about... Yeah, 1 hour 49.
Yeah, all references to the immortals being aliens from another planet were eliminated. This cut revealed blah blah blah. Yeah, banished by Preet Sindarana. And yeah, the whole thing about the new sequences. Yeah, so this was the Renegade cut that we watched, or the director's cut. And I can see why it's better, but it's still pretty bad. But it kind of makes me wish we'd been able to watch the original cut because it's so stupid. It's just on the earth the movie so much.
The 2004 special edition has a scene cut from the previous versions. It doesn't have the breaking into shield control scene near the end of the movie and the shootout with the shield control guards. Well, we saw that.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. I don't know why you cut that.
It's weird.
Huh. Man, who knew? It doesn't mention anything about this being a special cut anywhere.
Yeah. Well, it says there's actually more than one alternate versions. So this is obviously maybe not the exact director's cut, but it's something that's close to the director's cut.
I didn't know the Renegade cut was like official or anything. I thought it was just like a fan did it.
It makes it sound that way, doesn't it? I mean, while the movie flopped, it didn't even flop as badly as you might expect. It made about a little more. It made a little less than half its budget, which I guess is pretty bad. But
wow.
there's been worse. It cost $34 million and it made $15.6 million in the U.S. So it didn't kill the franchise, which I guess is the main thing, right? But yeah, what the hell is the next one even called? It's the Highlander film series, The Sorcerer. Highlander 3, The Sorcerer. Oh yeah, it had a different title. This is the title I remember. The Final Conflict. That's the title I remember. And here's the thing about regardless of what cut of the second one you watch, The Sorcerer pretends this movie doesn't exist. it's a direct sequel to the first one. It disregards this movie entirely.
I think I saw it as the Final Dimension. Highlander: The Final Dimension.
Yeah, that's the fourth one.
Oh, that's the
Or
fourth
no,
one?
that's this one. No, that's this one too. Holy shit! So look at this: the Sorcerer, the Magician, the Final Dimension, and the Final Conflict. That's funny. The one I remember is Final Conflict, but you're right. It was also Final Dimension. In fact, the poster on the Wikipedia page shows it as Final Dimension. But anyway, the main thing I remember about this one is that it completely pretends the second one doesn't exist, which most people were very happy about.
I saw this one in the theater too, I believe.
Wow.
I mean, not 2, 3. I mean,
3, yeah.
I know I didn't see 2 in the theater.
It was sometime probably around the time this movie, the third one came out. It was around 94, and whenever the show started, that's when I really became aware what Highlander was. And I think the show started sometime in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
Because I had friends who watched the show. I remember being on and flipping and watching a scene or two, but I never watched a single episode of it. So I couldn't say if it was good or bad. But I knew people liked it. What's that?
We need to do 1 and 3. Do a commentary over all these fucking things.
We do. Well, I know 1 is also on Prime, but I don't think the others are. For a long time, the 99 one was on my Netflix, but I bet you it's not now. It was a long time ago. To the point where I even tried watching it and turned it off after it was 20 minutes. But yeah, as franchises go, Highlander's always one that has sort of fascinated me, which is weird because it's I don't particularly like the substance of it, but there's something about it I like.
Oh, the TV show is on Prime for me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the first one, the second one, the TV show. Yeah, the other ones are here, but you have to pay for them.
It's not on my phone. Why does Event Horizon come up for this? That's Highlander. So that was Highlander 2, The Quickening, and the version we watched on Prime was either it was the director's cut or it was some other alternative cut. It was not the original. It wasn't the most loathed version, which is the original theatrical cut. But it's still pretty bad. If anybody watched along can see, it's still pretty bad. So yeah, we were talking about the aliens in Zeist. Apparently, if you're paying more attention and watching it, you'll see that they don't actually make those references. They just make it a little more ambiguous, but still. It's pretty dumb.
Highlander, The Source from 2007.
Yeah. I saw at least a piece of that.
Adrian Paul's in that.
Yeah.
So he basically took over. He took over for Lambert in the movies.
Yeah. I'm just reading about making Highlander 3. The movie completely ignores the events of Highlander 2. It makes no mention of them. William Panzer, producer, mentioned that several references to the TV series continuity were inserted into this film as a means of linking it to the TV universe. However, none of them have acknowledged each other between the third and the TV series. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, there was an animated series in 95.
I never heard about that. What's weird about the third one is I'm seeing is that there was an R-rated cut and a PG-13 cut. There's an R-rated director's cut that I guess had longer sex scenes.
Yeah.
All these movies had a lot of editing done to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, another thing was... Yeah, I do want to do the rest of them. As far as it might be difficult for me to find some of the others, but see what we can do. But at least we can watch the first one sometime soon.
Got this animated series going now.
I have to look that up.
Wasn't supposed to be free, but it's playing. Quentin MacLeod is in this one.
Is this The Search for Vengeance?
It's just called Highlander, the animated series.
Oh, series. There's an anime movie, not animated, an anime called The Search for Vengeance.
Wow.
That came out in 2007? Yeah. So I want to see that too.
This kind of looks anime style. Similar to anime style. Yeah.
Huh. Nolan North is one of the voices in it. He's the guy that voices Drake in the Uncharted games.
Oh.
I'm talking about the anime here. Yeah, I want to see this now too. So there's a 2007 anime movie. See, this seems like something that lends itself well to anime.
Yeah.
Perception.
Yeah, it does. Man, who knew it was this deep? The Highlander.
Yeah. Well, that's what always surprised me. Is like you see it a lot in the horror genre, but not in other genres, right? Like in horror, yeah, there's all sorts of like cheap crap that they keep making movies of, and somebody's a fan of them, like like Puppet Master and stuff like that.
Right.
There's a million Puppet Masters, although most people have barely even know it exists, and yet there's so many of them. Highlander is not horror, and yet, despite not being necessarily that popular, is a fairly large franchise when you look at everything.
Yeah.
It goes from '86 right into the 2000s. It's live action movie, live action television, and now we've got, and of course there's been a few comics and stuff.
It definitely has a fan base.
Yeah. Here we go. Highlander, the animated series, ran from '94 to '96. Loose spin-off and sequel of the original movie. Don't know any of the voices. Who's the studio that did this? Amont Multimedia. I don't recognize that. But apparently it was partially a Canadian production. Canadian French-American production. So this has a McLeod. In that, it's Quentin McLeod.
Right.
The Highlander.
Yeah, I'm watching now.
Raised by the Dundee clan, he was killed by Arak and subsequently resurrected as an immortal. Horton sought to capture Dundee. He usually fights with a sword that belonged to Connor, but also carries a boomerang. Okay, sure, why not? Okay, there's like some sort of ape dog. Somebody has like a pet that's a cross between an ape and a dog named Grawl. No. I don't know. I'm sure, I don't think I ever knew about this.
Mm-mm.
I mean, it ran for 2 seasons. And the second season's long. The second season's like quite a few episodes. Not familiar with any of these voice actors, although I'm sure I've come across them before. Oh my god! A video game based on the series called Highlander: The Last in the Clouds was released for the Atari Jaguar CD. Wow!
What was the name of it?
It was called. Shit, I just had it. Hold on.
See, the CD was a very quick run on the Jaguar.
Yeah, I know.
Because it wasn't actually true 64. It was 232-bit.
Yeah, but they still marketed it as the first 64 bit. Yeah,
because it came out before the Nintendo 64.
It was called Highlander: The Last in the McClouds.
Fuck.
Imagine like the only version of a game coming up for the Atari Jaguar. Yeah, I see that. Like I said, I knew people, close friends, and a few other people that were pretty big fans of the series. So, and I think at the time, based at least on the movies that existed at that point, the first 3 Highlander movies versus the show, I know I had friends that thought Duncan was a better Highlander than Connor.
This has Ramirez, or what was his name?
Ramirez is Sean Connery's character, yeah.
Yeah, he's in this.
I love that cover. I'm looking at the Jaguar CD game. It has a fairly large article on Wikipedia. Wow. And it had a few planned sequels that got canceled. Highlander 2, The Quest for Knowledge, and Highlander 3, The Time of Endings. And you have to think they were canceled more to do with the Atari than anything to do with their own games.
The Quest for Knowledge is a stupid fucking title, I can tell you that.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Would have to follow the events here in the first. Ramirez falls into a coma after being poisoned, and Quentin must search and meet with the other Jetatars, I don't even know what that is, in order to find an antidote. The game was announced along with the first part in 95 was announced. Last issue was originally left unreleased. Also planned as a PC title. Wow, I really like that. Cool. I mean, if you want to talk about obscure games, I wonder how much a copy of Highlander: The Last of the McClouds for Jaguar CD goes for.
I'm looking for right now.
That's got to be a rare ass game because that could not have had a big release. I mean, any game for the Jaguar CD is rare, but
well, the Jaguar itself was cartridge based. I mean, it had the CD thing that went on top of it,
which looked like a toilet.
Very, very briefly. Similar to what Sega did, trying to extend the life of the console.
Yeah, Sega CD, Sega 32X. You had Sega CD, didn't you?
I had Sega CD. I didn't have 32X though.
Still pretty awesome. Never played Sega CD.
It like the Genesis, it had a little compartment that it slid into. They did too. The first one that came out, the Genesis was on top of the Sega CD, and then the second one it was side by side. That was meant to go with the newer Genesis, but I had the older Genesis, so it looked all fucked up. Like it didn't fit right. I mean, it worked, but it didn't match.
Yeah.
Like it was hanging off the side all a bunch. $49.99. You can get you a copy of Highlander: Last in the Clouds.
I guess that's not bad, but the only problem is I don't have a Jaguar CD either.
How are you going to play it? Yeah. See, it's a new one for $80, so yeah, that's not too bad. See how much I can buy a Jaguar CD for.
I'm going to buy a 3DO someday, I swear to God. By the time I buy it, it probably won't work anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff is just going up in value as more collectors get into it.
What I've talked about before, but that's one of my main interests is that generation of home consoles, which isn't, it's kind of the lost generation, it's a false generation.
Oh, I forgot how stupid those controllers were for this thing.
Because the fifth generation would be the PlayStation, Sega Saturn, and Nintendo 64. These consoles would have been considered part of the fourth, but they're sometimes called the fourth and a half because really they're a jump up from, say, the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. So they're sort of an unofficial generation, often called the fourth and a half, and I've always been obsessed with them because they simply weren't sold in stores even where I live. Like 3DO, I couldn't go down to Walmart or Toys R Us and get that. That wasn't there. And neither was the Jaguar. They were not available where I lived.
I think they sold 3DO stuff here. It was pretty expensive, though.
They didn't sell the Neo Geo either. Yeah, I had the only reason I ever played 3DO is I think I told you I had a friend who I didn't see very much. He wasn't around much, but his parents were divorced, and his dad was an eye doctor. And his dad, they had the biggest house in our street, big huge house and stuff. And I think it was even before he made that house, but he lived in a smaller house first before they built that house. And he also had the Sega Master System, which is the only time I've ever played that. But he had a 3DO, and he didn't buy it anywhere around Nova Scotia. I think he got it in somewhere in Ontario, maybe Toronto or something like that.
Really?
Because that's the other thing. I didn't even have the opportunity to play those things. They were just things I read about.
Yeah. Neo Geo was ridiculously expensive, though.
Mm-hmm. Neo Geo has the longest life of any console.
Yeah.
As far as actually making games went, the Neo Geo existed for 12 years. But I always knew about the Neo Geo because it was famous for having games that were more expensive than anything else.
Yeah.
But they weren't, and I mean, again, it wouldn't have been the type of thing I would have loved, but it was known for the Neo Geo, compared to any other system on the market, was known for having faithful recreations of arcade experiences. Oh my God, I hate you, Austin. By the way, I played Demolition Man a lot too, but I had the Super Nintendo version. I didn't own it. I borrowed it from a friend and wound up having it for a long time. So I played that. But speaking of, there were a lot of Super Nintendo games that had 3DO ports that were like slightly better, like Flashback. I really like Flashback.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome to have a 3DO. That's like the main system I'm obsessed with. What variation was it? Was it a Gold Star one?
Yeah.
See, that was the weird thing about the 3DO. Like, there wasn't a system. For a long time, when I first heard about it, I thought, how Sony makes the PlayStation? I thought Panasonic owned 3DO, but that's not what it is. 3DO was its own company, and different companies made it. Panasonic made one, and there were a couple other ones. So which version was yours? I'm interested to know.
What about CDI? Did you ever have a CDI?
No, but again, part of that, and that's probably the system most noted for having like the worst games. Okay, so CDI kind of wanted to be different from an ordinary video game system. It wanted to be kind of like a computer, and it wanted to be like a learning. So it was full of games that were educational, and of course, the most famous things are like those Link games, right? They actually had Legend of Zelda games for it. And watching them on YouTube is hilarious. Like some of the worst animated sequences you'll ever see of anything.
They look terrible.
Oh my god! It's like it. You couldn't do worse if you're trying your worst to hardest to make Zelda and Link look stupid. But yeah, but that was Philips CDI.
Philips, that's right.
I think they also had Mario Hotel on that.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Which is considered maybe the worst Mario game. And there's a lot of Mario games, so that suggests how bad it is because there's like 250 Mario games?
There's a lot of bad Mario games too.
And that's what I mean. And Mario Hotel is supposed to be like the bottom of the barrel. I played Mario's Time Machine. That's speaking of educational games. And that was actually on I rented that. That was on the Super Nintendo. It's really bad. It was practically point and click, if I remember correctly. I remember playing for about an hour and being like, "What the hell?" and giving up.
Yeah.
Because it was so different.
He said his was a Panasonic.
Ah, one of the Gold Star ones, maybe. They were the ones that really looked like big VCRs, kind of. Yeah, I think that was the first version. There's like two other versions, and I can't even remember what they're called. But like one of them is because I've looked this up, just seeing like if I was going to get one, what's the best one to be? What would be the best one to get? But,
I don't even know if Gold Star is around anymore, but we had a Gold Star VHS player that lasted for like fucking 20 years, man.
Oh, Sanyo. So
Sanyo
there was a Sanyo version of the 3DO, and when I was looking up, a lot of people say like if you're going to get one now, like if you're a collector, that's maybe the best one to go with. I don't know. That's just some stuff I've read.
Yeah, that's probably the only time that's ever happened before. They put out the same console, but multiple companies did it.
Yeah. Series of specifications originally designed by Dave Needle and RJ McCall of New Technologies Group that could be licensed by third parties. Panasonic produced the first models in '93, and further renditions of the hardware released in '94 by Gold Star. Okay, yeah, and Sanyo. So yeah, I guess people consider Sanyo be the best one to get now, just because it's the newest, because it came out in '95, right? So if you were going to get one, get maybe the newest one, although they're all old at this point. But yeah, I really had a fascination with all of those, but the 3DO more than any others. It did have a few games on it. Oh, by the way, I remember we talked about this before. Of course, one of its most infamous games was the Night Trap game. I know they released a 20th anniversary edition of Night Trap that you could get on PlayStation 4. You got that? Or you were thinking about getting?
Yeah, I played it for a few of the things, and it's just trial and error. You have to figure out what to do, and I don't know. I didn't get very far into it. It was nice for nostalgia.
Yeah.
Because I never played it when it was out. That was one of the Sega CD ones, right? Wasn't that out for Sega CD? And
oh yeah, maybe it was Sega CD. I'm mixing it up. I was thinking it was 3DO.
That and Sewer Shark, I believe.
Sewer Shark was that. Yeah. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's like 7 actual different versions of the 3DO.
Wow.
Panasonic made like 3 different ones. One was Japan only. Sanyo made a Japan-only one. Gold Star released several. One was for North America. One was for South Korea. I don't know what Creative 3DO Blaster is, but that's not actually a system. It's a PCISA expansion card. Okay, so that was something like where you could like, it was almost like converting your PC into a 3DO or something weird like that. I don't know. But yeah, I was always really interested in 3DO. Because I played in my brief time playing it, I played for probably what was one of the best games in its library. It had this game called Return Fire, which is sort of like a military strategy game.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, it was really good for like a versus thing. It was like you play split screen, you have a head-to-head with, it was almost like a capture the flag type thing where you play. And what it was you only had access to one vehicle at a time. And you had a helicopter, you had a Jeep, you had a tank, and you maybe had something else. And you chose them, and that, the helicopter was fast, but it was easy to shoot down. The Jeep was like the most. Yes, I do know what you mean because I've seen a lot of those pictures. That's really cool. The Jeep was I think the Jeep was the only thing you could actually capture the flag with, so you had to keep your Jeep alive and stuff like that. Anyway, it was really cool. Really, you could play against the computer too, but it was really good to play against a friend. It's called Return Fire.
Return Fire?
I believe it was called Return Fire.
Name sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was like a military capture the flag type thing where you controlled vehicles on a map, and you just go head to head against either the computer or somebody else. It was like a sort of top down map.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it had a cool FMV opening because that's what 3DO pushed, right? It was like the 3DO and Sega CD had they had full video stuff that usually wasn't part of the gameplay, but they'd have it for openings and stuff.
Yeah. Hey, I'll be right back.
Yep. But yeah, I'm jealous of people that even got to play that longer because I couldn't even just go up and buy one. It just wasn't around at the time. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff I could have bought that, in hindsight, there's all sorts of things that I wish I'd gotten, in 1995, bugging my parents that I wanted Batman Forever for the Super Nintendo. I should have been getting fucking Earthbound, you idiot, but sometimes things take a while. It's not like I didn't recognize some good games at the time, but still, I never did buy Chrono Trigger. I loved Chrono Trigger, but I never actually bought it. I do, by the way, now do own Earthbound on the Super Nintendo. Not with the box or anything like that, but still the game. My Super Nintendo still works quite well. I'll keep up that. Although I haven't actually tried it in a while. A few of the games are a bit wonky. They don't necessarily start up right away, but what's funny is the oldest and most played game works the best, probably, which is the game that came with it, which is, Super Mario World. That works flawlessly. I've never had any trouble starting that. But yeah, Jay, Eric, and I, for at least a year, have been talking about doing a show where we talk about video games, and I think we're very close to finally getting off the ground. We've had some false starts and some long periods where we maybe kind of forgot about it or something like that. I think that's finally going to happen sometime soon. It's difficult to coordinate. Eric moved and now he's in a better time zone for me anyway. When Eric lived on the West Coast, there used to be a 4-hour difference between him and me, which is substantial. But now he's in the same sort of time zone as Jay, so that's only 2 hours for me, so that's not too bad. So that makes things a bit more workable. So I'm really hoping we can get the first episode of that off soon. We probably still can't make it as a regular thing as what Jay and I do with our show, which is usually weekly. We're hoping to do one this week. But we're coming up to 100 episodes on that. Our next episode will be our 99th, and then 100, which we want to be something special, but we don't really know what to do. So if anybody has any ideas or any requests for that, we're certainly all ears because we would like to. We think 100's a pretty significant milestone. So if something about it could be significant, or something about it could be appropriate, that'd be cool. Video interactive multiplayer. I wonder what Trip Hawkins does nowadays.
Yeah, I found my Jurassic Park Sega CD game the other day.
That's awesome.
I don't have a Sega CD anymore, but the game sucks anyway. So
yeah, I heard that. Sega CD had maybe 5 games that were considered truly good.
Oh, yeah. So it actually had scenes shot for the game.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I just played the ordinary Demolition Man, which I think was on Super Nintendo and Genesis, which is basically a run and gun game, although pretty fun. I never beat it. I got very close to the end. I remember the end was this level where you had to keep going down. You were going on cables. You were sliding on cables. It was really difficult to tell where the way to go was sometimes.
Yeah, we actually
yeah,
have
I was,
a.
yeah, so I was just saying. I was saying how like I think we're finally close to getting a show off the ground with Eric.
Yeah, so we've got a show on just that. Hopefully, coming soon.
Yeah, I think
We've
we're
been-
finally going to get that off the ground. We've been in talks for that for a long time. So
Because we're like, I mean, hell, I was fucking. We had a 2600. So
yeah, that's awesome.
we ran the whole. And we're both still gaming on current systems, so we're. A little bit of PC gaming here and there, but that's not really what I
Yeah.
do the most of. But everything else, I've.
What's funny, as I said, is like, I don't do PC gaming and haven't, but in the 90s, I was a legitimate PC gamer. I played all sorts of PC games in the 90s. It just changed. Got to a point where like it got to a point where games became so specialized and stuff, and you always had to upgrade and stuff. Where I was just like, the hell with it, it just became too much of a hassle.
You remember you get games, and this is back when you could still, your buddy could buy the game and let you borrow it, and you install it.
Yeah,
You'd have it'd be like 15 3.5 floppies. It was so damn many of those things that is what it got to before CD came out.
I'm still pretty sure the very first video game I ever played was on the Commodore 64.
That's what I was about to say. My brother had one, and he also had one that it looked like a cassette tape, but you could play a game off of it.
Hmm.
You put it in this thing that it looks like a cassette tape player, but it actually plays the game. I don't know how it worked, but I'd watch him play that. I never really messed with it, but
yeah, a few years ago they did a special re-release of the Commodore 64. They made like a new one.
Yeah, like a retro thing.
Yeah. But at least in that one's case, it was a Commodore 64. See, I know like Ryan and some people are fans of like these mini versions of the consoles with the pre-installed games, but I don't like them. They're not real. There's a PlayStation 1, there's a Genesis 1, there's a Super Nintendo 1. I don't like them. They're not real.
These new mini consoles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They they're not the actual console, and it's not the actual games. It's just like emulators, built low. I'm not saying, if you get it, you're an idiot or anything. No, fine. If people enjoy it, I just mean I'm not a fan. I know Ryan has at least one of them. He might have the PlayStation 1 too. He definitely has the Super Nintendo 1. But I don't know. It's not an actual Super Nintendo, so I don't care.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like I can download an emulator for pretty much any game, like to my phone.
Yeah. I mean, why don't they just make a new Super Nintendo that has like an HDMI cable? Is that impossible?
Doesn't this have one? Doesn't the new thing have an HDMI cable?
Well, that's what I mean. They do. So why couldn't like an actual, cartridge-based system that has the same hardware and stuff just have that so you can play it on modern TVs? I mean, like a lot of like retro gamers, I kept an old tube TV. It's in my other room there specifically for those systems.
Yeah, I've got one too.
Actually, there's like the other day on Twitter, I saw somebody put one out. Like, at least in Japan, they released like a special TV like exactly for that purpose.
Really?
Yeah.
I know I've played like the Master System and my TurboGrafx and stuff on like a newer, LCD TV, and for one, it's like, it's not widescreen presentation, so that always, is distracting. It just doesn't look good, and it looks better on those old tube TVs.
Here's the other thing: Nintendo, at least of Japan, but maybe in America too, do have those original systems. They didn't get rid of them because I've read a couple articles. One is related to COVID, but one's before that. A year or two ago, some like 80-year-old woman, she owned the original Game Boy, right? The original block gray Game Boy. It died, and she wrote like a letter to Nintendo, and they sent her a new one. A new exact, like, one of those.
That's cool.
So they must have like a warehouse full of those. And another thing I read that's more recent is like a little while ago, part of the Japanese government's plan during COVID to help kids at home is they sent Super Nintendos, Super Famicons to households with children for free. Oh, we have a younger viewer. Yeah, so, well, if you get the time and if we get our show off, you'll hear us talk about all sorts of older stuff because that's the stuff we came up on.
Well, yeah, he made a joke about a floppy disk, and I thought he was joking, but apparently he really doesn't know what a floppy is.
Yeah.
Yeah, floppy disk is just it used to be, what you would put into a PC.
Yeah, okay, so remember that night I was in the chat briefly when you were doing a show with Christian and some other guy or something like that. And remember there was that loudmouth guy in the chat, and they were saying how like he was young, and he was like saying he was older, and they're like, no way. And they said, well, what's a cassette? Did you see what he said when they said what's a cassette? He said, I know what a cassette is. It's like a CD. You play music on it. Like that was like the best he could do. Was that a cassette was like a CD, which you play music on it is true, but I mean, he was really showing his age there. He just said something like, like old cars nowadays don't have cassette players. Well, obviously, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that was the point.
Remember having to, like, when CD was out, right? But all your cars still had tape players. You had to get that fucking weird contraption that you stuck in that was shaped like a tape.
Oh yeah, Ryan and I did that all the time. We converted CD to tape a lot. That was a big thing, big part.
Part of the struggle.
Yeah. You grew up in the 80s and 90s. A big part of it was that, and of course the mixtape, right? Which I eventually made into mix CDs and stuff.
Right.
It's a lost art.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's no need. It's like
I just make playlists. I mean, I enjoy making playlists. I make them, but still, it's not the same.
It's not the same, but when you were creating that Canadian, alternative playlist, like there was a lot of songs you probably couldn't find, right?
Yeah.
Or did you find everything you were looking for?
Well, I found everything I was looking for, but for most of them, if they had an official music video, I really wanted you to see it, and there were a few cases where that wasn't available, and that was annoying. And I don't know why, because I wanted you to like see it. Christ, we're not that old.
What? Tell me what you think a boomer is, first of all.
Yeah. I'd really like to know what younger people think boomer means.
Our parents were boomers.
Yes, we're of the generation where our parents were boomers.
Showing our age here, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, at least we're showing that we're not quite that old. Jeez, boomer. I mean, we're younger than Generation X too.
My wife is, I think my wife's your age. We were talking earlier, and she was like, in 24 years, I'll be 60. And I was like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't want to hear it like that. I don't like that, I don't like that math.
I mean, I already have to come to grips that I'm closer to 40 than 30. That's bad enough, okay? That's bad enough.
This we were talking about, aging or something. I was going on my rant about how, like, all these face creams and shit is like $1 trillion industry, and none of them work because you don't see any 60-year-old women that, like, you're like, man, you have great skin,
I owe it all to.
Yeah, the oil of Olay or whatever, But she was like, I'll be 60 in 24 years. I'm like, fuck, I'll be 60 and
you'll be like, and I'll be leaving you for a young stripper wife. Got straight up.
And I'll be visiting Hong Kong frequently.
But if we can educate somebody, boomer refers to the term baby boomer. Mm-hmm. The baby boom was a surge in the population in North America, and I suppose in Europe too, after World War II. So if you know your history, World War II ended in 1945. So people born between 45 and probably the end of the 50s are the baby boom generation. So they would all be in like their mid 60s at the youngest now. So no, we are not fucking boomers. We're still a ways off from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, both of us, our parents would be boomers. My parents were born in the 50s.
All right, y'all. Awesome's backing us up here. Thank you.
There, I can feel young by comparison there. Because he's closer to 50 than 40. But I guess I should go in a minute just so I don't leave my clothes down there too long. I don't usually do that. Oh, yeah. I'm not really worried. No one's going to come around and take them, but I've got some stuff sitting there.
Well, cool, man. It's been fun. Thanks, guys, for watching along with us, and we'll be back either on my channel or Cole's channel.
We got to do the original Highlander soon.
Cole's channel is Jet Silver Avenger, and we may be doing either Police Story 2 or Highlander, the original, coming up soon.
Right. Yeah, because we just did a little while. Our last one we did was Police Story 1, so we were going to do Police Story 2 eventually, and we went backwards this time. We did Highlander 2 first, but we like to do the first Highlander just because it's available. So either of those, no, it's okay. Everything makes me feel old, so don't you worry about it, man. I think it's awesome that you're 14. I was thinking about 14 a lot lately because that's how old I was when Final Fantasy 7 came out, right? And now we've got the new Final Fantasy 7. I'm thinking I was 14 when the original came out. It's been more than 20 years. So no, don't worry about it at all. That's just how life works. You reach a certain age and you become nostalgic about everything, and just everything makes you feel old. So don't worry, no worries there. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Awesome. We appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. And as we said, hopefully, I think we're getting really close to that other show with Eric. So hopefully get that off the ground, do some serious video game talk, because we both itching to do that. So all right, so that'll do for this live comm. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Thanks for watching.
Peace.
Peace.